Yo, what is going on, you guys? It's your boy King Sanders here, and we are back with another day of sports betting. This is going to be for January 14th, Friday's slate of NBA games. A fantastic slate. I truly love this slate, so I'm very excited to dive into it. But first, let's do a quick freaking recap of yesterday. I'm super excited. We ended up bringing out the brooms. 3-0, clean sweep on the day. We had Giannis over 11.5 rebounds versus Golden State Warriors. I was very worried about that. The Bucks at one point in time were at 40. I was very, very scared. I thought for sure that they were going to get I thought for sure Giannis was going to be taken out of the game. Thankfully for us, he wasn't. But he ended up going back in I think 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and he ends up getting 3 rebounds to secure that 12 rebounds. Then we had Grizzlies -5 versus Minnesota. Another absolute sweat bet. But luckily that one hit for us as well. I think they ended up winning by 7 or 8, something like that. But either way, barely cashing it. Anthony Edwards takes a 3 with 10 seconds left that would have put them down by 3. So it would have been very, very tough. But luckily he missed that one for us. Then we had Pelicans -3 versus the Clippers. Absolutely no sweat bet, to be completely honest. Pelicans got up early. They got up by 20 in the first half. And then after that, they pretty much held that lead for the entire time. So Pelicans have been looking really nice lately, and I'm not sure why, but I'm glad that they are kind of figuring things out, trying to, gel together. So we'll go ahead and hop into today's plays, but first I did just want to go ahead and say thank you guys so much for the support. I know I've been on a rough last week, but things are starting to look up. So we are on the road to 1,500 subscribers. And I can't do that without you guys. So make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you guys know whenever I post. Our first play of the day is going to be the Cleveland Cavaliers -2.5 versus the San Antonio Spurs -110 odds. Spurs haven't necessarily, they've been an okay team, but they haven't been fantastic. They've had some quality wins. They've had some quality covers here and there, but they have only covered in 2 of their last 8 games in general. Whereas the Cavs, they are a very, very good road team. They are 14-7-1 against the spread, cashing double amount of times than not on the road. And the Cavs in their last game, I know that they've kind of struggled. They've had, some injuries, some protocols, stuff like that. But they really started to turn things around. They actually beat Utah, and I know Utah didn't have Gobert and they didn't have Whiteside, so they really didn't have a center. But they ended up beating them by 20 last game, which is a very solid win. And truthfully, I just think this is a very bad matchup for a team like the San Antonio Spurs. Obviously, the Cavs run 3 7-footers. And with Lauri Markkanen at the 3, Evan Mobley at the 4, and Jared Allen at the 5. So with all of that going on, and they only have one true center right now, which is Jakob Poeltl, who is a very solid center. Don't get me wrong. But I just think that the height mismatch is a very bad matchup. I think that Garland is probably going to have a pretty rough night, especially since he is going to be guarded by DeJounte Murray. And it looks like Derek White is questionable, so he could be back. But I think that helps us out even more because he's a very small player. So I just think that the size mismatch is just really crazy here. And I think that the Cavs are going to be able to overcome 2.5 points for sure. So that's our first play of the day. Cleveland Cavaliers -2.5 versus the San Antonio Spurs -110 odds. Hopefully that can cash for us, start the day off right. Our next play of the day is going to be De'Aaron Fox over 22.5 points versus the Houston Rockets -110 odds. De'Aaron Fox has cashed this exact line in 5 of his last 7 games. He has been very, very solid in his last 7 games. He's been able to score quite a bit. Tyrese Halliburton has kind of been doing more of the playmaking than De'Aaron Fox, and De'Aaron Fox is really starting to get things figured out. De'Aaron Fox is one of my favorite young NBA players. The Rockets also give up the 3rd most points per game to opposing point guards in the entire NBA, so they don't really play a lot of defense anyway, but at the point guard position, it's even worse. Houston has the worst defense in the entire NBA from a statistical standpoint, which just makes me believe that we have even more of an edge on a bet like this. And on top of that, if you look at this bet historically, versus Houston, De'Aaron Fox has been a very solid player. He has cashed this exact line in 4 of his last 5 games, so 80% of the time he has cashed this. The only time that he didn't, he had 22. So he finished right on the hook. If he would have literally just got one more free throw, we would have been looking at a cover, and he would have been 5 for 5 in his last 5. So I like my odds there. So he's either probably going to finish right at 22 or right at 23 tomorrow, but I'm taking my odds with it. And on top of that, both these two teams do play at a very high pace. Houston is 3rd in pace in the entire NBA, and Sacramento is 6th. So both top 6 teams, top 10 teams for sure, whatever you want to look at it. But either way, they play at a very high pace. There's going to be a lot of shots. And De'Aaron Fox is a very fast player. I think he's going to be able to do some damage there. So that's our second play of the day. De'Aaron Fox over 22.5 points versus Houston Rockets, -110 odds. Next play of the day is going to be Miles Bridges, the absolute stud at the beginning of the year, and I still think he's playing really well. But over 19.5 points versus the Orlando Magic, -115 odds. Orlando, they are very bad against power forwards when it comes to defense. They give up the most points per game to opposing power forwards this year by a large margin. And Charlotte, well, they play at a very fast pace. They give up, or they shoot a lot of shots, and they don't necessarily play the best defense either. So there's going to be a lot of shots from both sides, and I truly do think that Miles Bridges is going to be able to get out on the fast break and be able to score quite a bit. And on top of that, these two teams have played twice already this year. He has cashed in one of them, and he has not cashed in the other. So I do think that this will be right around that number. And in the one that he didn't cash, he just had a really rough night. He only scored like 11 points, I think. So, and then the other one, he had 31. So, like, between the two, it's really just, like, I feel like this game's going to be right in the middle. He's going to be right around that 19.5 mark, whether it be 19, 20, 21, something like that. But I do think it's going to finish very, very close. But I do think we do have an edge against this Orlando Magic team. And our final bet of the day, oh, man, it pains me. It pains me, but I am hoping, and, you know, I really hope that this works out for us. But we're taking Bulls -3 versus Golden State Warriors -115 odds. And I know that the Bulls just got smoked by Brooklyn. I know that. They got absolutely destroyed by Brooklyn. Lost by like 26 or 30. I don't even know. I turned the game off in the third quarter because I knew it was over. But I'm taking them here for good reason. So, Klay Thompson and Draymond Green are both still, Draymond Green is still out. Klay Thompson is now going to be out for rest purposes, especially with basically injury management. So Klay Thompson is going to be out. So that is taking away another weapon from Steph Curry, who hasn't necessarily been playing fantastic this year. And I do think that this is going to be a bounce back spot for my Chicago Bulls. Like I said, they lost by 26 last game. I mean, it would be truly embarrassing for them to lose 2 games back-to-back against pretty decent opponents. And Draymond Green is a lot of the defense on this team. So I do think that it's going to be very tough for the Golden State Warriors to be able to stop this high-powered Bulls offense, despite all the injuries and stuff that we do have, which Derrick Jones Jr. just got ruled out, and he's going to be out for like 2 to 4 weeks, which is very, very unfortunate. But hopefully we can have some other pieces come back here shortly. And Golden State, they haven't, like I said, they haven't necessarily been playing the best. They have only covered in 1 of their last 5 games with whatever the spread is. And so I think I'm taking my odds here. I like the Bulls -3 versus Golden State Warriors at home. The Bulls have been a pretty decent home team, and I really like I really like my odds on that one. If you wanted to fade it, definitely go for it. But let me know in the comment section down below if you guys do decide to tail me or if you guys decide to fade me. But that's going to do it. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you guys know whenever I post. I'm on the road to 1,500 subscribers, and I can't do that without your guys' help. Once again, shout out to Seth for the designs here. Make sure to check out his YouTube channel down below. But for now, this is King Center signing out.